And then now a tattoo almost means nothing.
Mhm.
It's like it's not, it is not a signifier that tells you about how somebody does or doesn't live their lives. Not that it ever was,
Yeah.
but now it definitely isn't, even in society's view for the most part.
Yeah.
And so when I think about these things, and I think about like the Overton window and how it shifts in politics, I wonder if you've thought about it on a local level versus a national level, because you are in an interesting position.
Yeah.
You were a mayor.
Mhm.
As a mayor, you're only trying to shape the lives of the people who are in the same town that you live in. You know, we all know the streets. We all know that corner.
Yep.
We all know that shop.
Yeah.
Let's get something done. I would love to know how you think the nationalization of all politics has adversely or maybe beneficially affected politics in America, because I'm assuming there's a big difference between what people need on the ground and what they're reading about as like national news.
Totally. I thrived on the fact when I was mayor that our work was distant from what was going on in Washington or national politics. And I think that's one of the reasons, without ever concealing where I was, that I was a Democrat, that I was more progressive than probably most people in my city. I had, before I became more of a national figure, I had like equal approval rating among Republicans, Democrats, and independents in the city, because they just wanted to know if I was going to get the trash picked up, and are we going to like grow the local economy?
Yes.
What were we doing about this blocking and tackling, like basic things to take care of the city? And so I guess to your question, I'd say it's in one way easier, in one way harder. The way that it was easier was we were all operating from pretty consistent sense of the facts. So if there was a hole in the road as the mayor, I couldn't be like, that's the best road ever, there's no holes in it, and
there's a pothole.
Like people could see and they'd be like, there's a hole in the road, what are you going to do about it, right? If something was good or something was bad, people could just tell. And so there was much less of a contest over what the facts were.
Wow.
And much more of a contest of, given these facts, what are you going to do
about it?
Right?
Mhm.
It was the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, the ugly was because we'd been a factory town, we had acres of collapsing auto factories everywhere and vacant and abandoned houses everywhere. And you couldn't escape it. You couldn't pretend otherwise. And so what was easier was we at least had the same reality compared to nationally, where you can tell like the way Donald Trump talks about American cities.
Yes.
He's clearly just using his imagination.
Yeah.
Right. This is not based on any experience of what it's actually like.
Yeah. Or maybe
to be in
it's
these
social
cities.
media feed. Because I think we take for granted how much that man is on social media.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now here's the way it's harder. It's harder because if you're trying to pry open an Overton window, the more that the reality you're trying to describe that's different is kind of in somebody's face, I think the harder it is to picture something different. I can try to open somebody's Overton window, and I have, about changing the electoral college. I talked about that when I was running for president, which is probably not the smartest thing to do in New Hampshire. And I definitely didn't think that was going to happen in 5 years, but I just think I should lay down a marker from the earliest in my career till the end about that being important and try to push. So one day, 20 years from now, maybe we will fix it. But when you're asking people to look around the vacant and abandoned houses in their neighborhood, or look at the abandoned factory downtown and say with a straight face, it doesn't have to be this way. We can change it.
Wow.
If you trust me, I will change it. Give me a chance. That can require even more of a push on the imagination than I want when I'm talking in abstract terms about what we might want our country to be like.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think the other thing that's at stake in what you're saying is a kind of a humility about what we believe. I passionately believe in all of the things that I passionately believe in. By definition, I think I'm right about the things I believe. But I recognize that if I were born in a different family and raised in a different community and soaked up different values, I would probably think differently about a whole bunch of things. And that's just a basic thing that's definitely true about how we all form our political values. And yet there's even less room to show regard for that now than there's ever been, because instead of a news story, and now I sound like a grumpy old timer, but I can say I grew up in a time when the way I learned the news was I watched a TV bit or read an article, and that article on a controversial issue contained the perspectives of the two different sides. whatever it was, abortion, taxes, and it's not that I read both sides and wound up in the middle. Like maybe I read both sides and seeing the other side made me feel my side even more strongly.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not. Maybe the other side made me stop and think. But the point is you would think about it. Now I have a feed. And what does the feed give me? It gives me two things. Here's this person I already like doing something that looks good.
Yeah.
And reminds me why they're amazing. And here's this person I already don't like doing something which reminds me why I don't like them.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right? And I think it makes it that much harder for us to have any humility about why we are where we are on the political spectrum and why we believe what we believe about what ought to happen next.